And welcome to Done For You TV. Hope you are having a great day today. We're going to talk about a special organization. And our special guest today is Stacy. Actually, I'm just going to let Stacy introduce herself at this moment. So Stacy, tell us who you are.
Well, Kevin, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time out to talk about this. My name is Stacy Hummer. Very grateful to be here today and share about Reboot Alliance that we're going to be talking about, and also a shout out, and I appreciate Barry and Jan Plugins for letting us utilize their space. They're one of my very good friends and clients as well. Mm-hmm. A little bit about me, I guess you wanted to know.
Yes.
I am a veteran, mm-hmm. So that's why I'm passionate about having become part of the Reboot Alliance family. Mm-hmm. I know that we live life better connected. I'm also a house and pet sitter full time, so something I do. I move around from place to place while people are away. We have recently created You Must Need to Eat Here together. I'm a disaster responder with American Red Cross as well. I've been a long-time volunteer, actually going on 8 years with them as a disaster volunteer, community liaison, and public relations for them. So that's just a little bit about Stacy.
Yeah. Glad we got a chance to, narrow you down to get you in one place to talk about this on today. Stacy, a lot of the organizations that you partner with, it's a lot of hurt and a lot of healing is needed in these areas. Yes. Red Cross, Reboot, First Line, Reboot Combat Recovery. Tell us, Reboot, what does Reboot mean, and how does this organization start, and where are they headed, with this program?
Right, thank you. Well, actually, Kevin, it's really interesting, and it's actually because of you that I became aware of it based on a conversation. I am actually going to be co-facilitating this course with Matthew and Jessica Bishop, and I believe Matt approached you last year,
right?
And the conversation about doing a fundraising concert and what is this about, and veterans. He's also a veteran, and you brought it to my attention because I've been connecting with veterans over the past couple of years, knowing we need to stay connected. So Reboot started. Jenny and Evan Owens are the founders of Reboot, and they started in 2011. She's an occupational therapist that was working on an army base with military in the PTSD realm of post-traumatic stress disorder. So they actually started a small group in their home, seeing how it affected the families.
Wow.
That's kind of narrowing it down. And on rebootalliance.com, you can learn all about them, the AdSense, and then all of the staff that's on board as well. So since 2011, this is what's really exciting about this. And like I said, I'm thankful to be connected because it is a faith-based course.
Yes, that's awesome.
It is not denomination-based, but it's faith-based. We know and they know that God is our ultimate healer. So if we don't point people back to that, which is the goal in this course, is to provide, it's not a support group, okay? It is providing practical help and practical tools and solutions to walk through the journey of the healing and the trauma, understanding what it is, understanding where it came from, and then giving that tools, but also providing, so I said it's not a support group, but there's all of us that are part of it, and this small group that typically what it ends up being through this 12 weeks course is we support each other through the process. So we've walked through a lot of the journey.
Right.
We've walked through a lot of similar journeys with that. For me, it's been incredibly, so I had the opportunity to be a part of the First Line course, which they developed last year. And being a Red Cross disaster responder, I also am called to the scene with firefighters.
Right.
So I understand trauma. I actually grew up with a lot of childhood trauma.
Right.
So I grew up understanding survival methods and modes. The problem with that is sometimes we just we allow that to build up sometimes if we don't understand how to heal from it. So when Jesus Christ was introduced into my life as a teenager, I started learning a little bit more about that. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect.
Right.
Doesn't mean that I've not made my own mistakes in life and continue to make my own mistakes in life. but it's learning through the trauma, and it's the healing process, and we're always going to have scars.
Exactly.
We cannot go backwards from the pre-scar mode of life or pre-trauma of life. But what God does is, right, He allows us to utilize those scars, in which I appreciate this course so much. And the founders understand that too. You know, God's our greatest healer.
Okay.
Jesus has some of the most profound scars that we can't even comprehend because of what He did for us. But yet, He's always utilized people with scars and wounds and trauma and raised them up.
Always.
To help others. So all of our scars and our wounds in life really there's purpose in that pain. And that's one of the focuses they have too. There's purpose in the pain. That's one of the chapters. We understand that, wow, there's a process for that. And a lot of times that's utilized to help other people walk through that very same thing.
Amen.
So
now, before we go into Reboot,
absolutely.
Is this course? Do you charge for people to be a part of this? How is it affordable?
Yes, absolutely it is, and thank you. It's amazing how I get onto it because I've become so passionate about it. So this course is a free course.
Free. Wow.
It is free course to our participants. You know, a lot of times why people don't participate in things is because of the burden, the financial burden. Also, not only do we raise, and we're fundraising on the back end, and there's partners, there's financial partners out there as well, but also we seek out sponsorship in our very own community. A lot of times people want to be able to support veterans and their families, but may not have the time to do it or something like that. So there's finances. You can support us financially. We also provide meals and childcare.
Meals and childcare.
At no cost.
No excuses.
No excuses. Right. And we're just trying to remove the barriers and the burdens. Right? Because trying to get from point A to point B after a busy work day and your children in school, well, what's one of the burdens? How do we feed them? And then we've got to take care of this. And so we try to remove all the barriers and the burdens in trying to get there. All you have to do, you have to register so we can account for you and make sure we've got enough food provided. And we already have the child care provided for the space. And we have a host location too. Faith Baptist Church has chosen to host our location, which is on 552 Hammett Road in LaGrange, for this Reboot course as well. So they're giving us that space. We are using a room in their gymnasium. So it's free of charge. You do have to register on the rebootalliance.com website and just join the course and select LaGrange, Georgia as your location. Completely free of charge to you.
Now, Stacy, when does this course actually start?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And it's timing that we're sharing this opportunity.
Right.
So our course actually starts Thursday night, February 28th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. So it's after everybody should be getting off work. Just slide in. We'll feed you. Again, child care is provided as well. Come and eat a meal with everybody. We do a little bit of socializing, and then we break off into the course. And it's every Thursday night for the following 12 weeks. The end of that 12-week course, we have a really big graduation celebration. Just kind of a thank you and a celebratory moment of what you've walked through and how we've walked through it together as well. But it's just a really awesome time to also connect with other veterans. This is a military and veteran family course, which is another reason I like that. Trauma doesn't just affect the one person involved.
That's so true.
It impacts the entire family, all right? And so that's what I also appreciate about this. Sometimes there are spouses that come and the veteran is not, and I said spouse because I'm a veteran, and at the time I was in the military, I was also a spouse.
Right.
So a lot of things impact different people differently. Sometimes a spouse will sign up to come, the veteran's not ready yet, that's fine. Come. So it doesn't matter. So we've got military and veteran members and spouses already signed up. We've got already a good small group going on.
Great.
And the other thing is registration does not close until our third weekend. I also handle some of the publicity and some of the social media aspects for our course, and I keep trying to post and share different things along the way.
Yes.
But just know it's not too late. We don't close that out until the 3rd week.
So it's plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Register.
Yep. Go ahead and register now to get started. You don't want to miss any of it either. And also, one of the aspects that's really, really important to me, Kevin, is we stress that this is a safe, confidential environment for us to connect in. And that's really, really important. And not that everybody needs to share or is comfortable sharing right away, but you need to know we set those ground rules from the very beginning. We want it to be a safe space, right? We want each other to know that you can share what you share here, but it stays here. And that's so key when you're walking through some of the things that we need to walk through in life and learn more about ourselves too.
Yeah, because well, that leads to the healing process, being
Absolutely.
able to speak about it first. And
Absolutely.
if you can't speak about it, that limits you. Now, you say a 12-week course, and I know you can't tell us everything that's going on in those 12 weeks, but give us some of the highlights on some of the objectives or some of the courses, line items, what you'll be sharing, teaching on during this 12 weeks.
Yeah, and this course material is so, I love this course material, Kevin, because I've been a part of Bible studies and different aspects over the years. It's simple. You literally are going to focus on one area per week, basically, and kind of peel that apart. It's not a lot of homework. However, I know we all get into that reflection mode when we walk away. So we identify, what are traumas? And a lot of times what we don't understand is trauma is a soul wound. It goes to the very core of our soul, not just maybe a physical wound, but it goes to the very core. So we identify what are traumas. There's moral traumas, there's childhood traumas, there's physical traumas, there's spiritual traumas. So we identify those because a lot of people don't know those. What are those roots of trauma? If you don't understand the roots of that trauma, and sometimes it's not just the combat trauma, right? Sometimes when you start looking at things, it's like, oh wow, this goes way back to things that I've experienced as teenager, child, and it's just compounded. Then we start to look at how do we stop that bleeding? What does that look like? What can you do? And like I mentioned, this is a faith-based course. We have scripture that points back to what does God say about that? What does God say about the trauma? And then we talk about the forgiveness. One key week is talking about understanding, our forgiveness. We've got to understand how God forgives us. Wow. But we also translate that, because if we don't understand that, we have a much harder time forgiving others. Right?
True.
There's just something we hold on to, but that's a relationship thing too. If we don't, and we have a hard time with that because we see ourselves as wounded, broken, dirty, when He sees us completely differently because He created us. So we talk about that, and we talk about loss. We talk about loss. That's a reality.
Stacy, hold that thought
Yes.
for a second. We're going to go right back to that, but I was just hearing something as you were talking.
Sure.
Somebody's watching.
Yes.
And they're like, Stacy, you do not know what I've been through. You do not know the pain I've experienced. What can Reboot do for me?
Wow. Thank you. I'm tearing up, and I apologize actually, I don't apologize for this. Having walked through life and trauma myself, what can Reboot do for you? It can provide that glimpse of hope that when you thought there was no hope. I have been down in a pit of mire, and had it not been for that one person reaching down who was that in-between person of God, I don't know where I'd be, Kevin.
Wow.
So understanding, and the hardest part for veterans and military, especially after we get out, is staying connected. Because we understand battle buddies, right? And we train to cover each other's six, but the real world out here is hard. And we do not understand sometimes that what we face outside is still very real, and we need to stay connected in that because we're all walking through a lot of those similar things. So it provides that element of hope and knowing that other people want to walk alongside you and continue to be your battle buddies. You know, one of the reasons I joined the Red Cross, Kevin, is because knowing that actually, no, I don't apologize for the tears. Long time ago, I would have never done that on camera or in an interview, part of reality. And I'm so thankful. That's part of the healing.
Right.
I used to be very hard, so I would not shed those tears. So I praise God for that because, you know, that's part of like the peeling away, we call it peeling away the onion sometimes, the healing roots that I can share very openly. But going back to that, one of the reasons why I partnered with the Red Cross is it brings an element, I can respond on a dime. So there's an element of that military still within me to being able to respond to a time of need in a very practical, even in a disaster zone. Whether that's good or not, some of us are just equipped that way.
That's true.
And I know I am. So, but also what I found out too is a lot of us are military that serve together in the element of the disaster response in American Red Cross. So for me, we've got this camaraderie. We've got each other's back. We've got, you know, we are there for each other. We can text each other in the middle of the night if we have to go out the scene when we respond together. It's just that element of knowing that you're connected. And you're connected with people who understand, who get it. We speak that language just like those in the military, we've got a language we speak. So knowing that there's other people out there walking through very similar things, may not be exactly the same thing, but a lot of us have been there. So that's what Reboot has done for so many people. And it's restored families, Kevin.
And that's what life's all about, restoring families.
Restoring families. And not that it's restored mine, but I know where I am and I know where I've gone, where I came from. I know what I did wrong. But seeing the testimonies out there, I had the opportunity to go to the Leadership Summit last fall and connect with even more. And we actually, and I love that Jenny and Evan even refer to everybody, and we all do, as a Reboot family. You know, that's where it comes, when you can refer to each other as a Reboot family. We've got these communities online that we support each other as leaders as well, because we know we're walking through this together. So just to share with you also where they've come since 2011, which they never thought. The goal is duplication. It's duplication. It's not just nationwide now, but it's gone global into some other communities. So I was just looking at the current stats, and if you go on rebootalliance.com, at the bottom of the page, they've got scrolling numbers of participants, graduates, courses across the nations and what's going on. Over 4,000 people, participants, have graduated since 2011 from these courses. And 41% of those train to become leaders. 85% return for additional courses too, which speaks an 81% graduation rate. So
wow,
yeah,
awesome.
It is awesome numbers and so that's the part of it too, because it actually is a tool. They're always, they've got, you know, a lot of people on staff, but we're always collecting data too, because it's actually providing some tools for healing.
And it's right in our community.
Yes, LaGrange, Georgia. We actually have a few people coming up from Columbus and Fort Benning this time as well. That Columbus location has not slated to start their course yet. Okay. Maybe in the fall they will, but we've had a few people reach out even from that community there. So we start next Thursday, actually February 28th, 6:30 to 8:30 at Faith Baptist Church Gymnasium, the big building, 552 Hammett Road, like I said, for 12 weeks. And it will be an instrumental 12 weeks of your life, hopefully life-changing. And it's free of charge to all of our veteran and military members and their families to come. Bring your children. You must register so I can get a head count for food. Make sure that we've got enough food
Yes.
for you, which
Gotta have enough food.
we never shy away from food. But I would also like to share another element for our community that may be watching this too,
All right.
Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
There's many ways that you can support us. Okay. There's also a how can I help on the rebootalliance.com. I would love for you to become an ally. What does that look like? You can raise funds for us. You can help support us in that way. We need words of encouragement, all of us in this community. Prayer warriors, let me know. I've already got a little circle of prayer warriors, but also support us with a meal.
Right.
It may be 15 to 20 people, but one night a week, whether you're a small group in a church or a business out there or would like to give us funds for a meal to put together, that would be awesome. We receive any support. $35 alone supports one course member for the entire course.
Wow.
So that's not a lot when you think about how can we help our veteran community. And you're making a ripple effect difference too, and not just one life, but many as well for this course.
All right. There's Reboot in LaGrange. Did I say Reboot?
Reboot
Combat Recovery. So
Yes.
there's a way that's reaching out to veterans
Yes.
for assistance, and there is help. So
Yes.
it's up to the veterans and their spouses to actually partner with you guys to actually receive
Absolutely.
this help.
Absolutely.
So are there any parting words that you would like to share before we sign off?
I think reminding you that there's always those that want to connect and walk through this journey called life with you. You're not in this journey alone, and that was the most instrumental thing for me. I'm a connector of people and resources. I'm passionate about that because I know life is better served and lived as a community, not individually, and
That's so
not
true.
in isolation.
That's true.
And so even Reboot cannot do this alone. There's many partners that help support. So I encourage you, in curiosity, whatever, reach out to me. You can connect with me on Facebook. Stacy Brown Hummer is who I am on Facebook. I would definitely love to share information. And make sure you go to rebootalliance.com to their website to just see more of what this is about. And remembering that God is our ultimate healer. We can only try to do so much, Kevin, on our own. And we support doctors in our community, and we're not taking the place of doctors in medicine either. That's a partnership that we've got. But knowing that He is our ultimate healer, and that's our goal in this.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for sharing about Reboot.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Thank you.